What are the issues around migrant labourers in South Africa? I mean, many people would argue that the economy of South Africa has been built by migrant workers.
Well, certainly historically that's the case, and it's not something that's stopped in 1994.
Yeah.
It's something that's continued since, and that is still very much structuring the South African economy in various sectors, in particular in mining, that's quite well known, but also in other sectors of the economy such as commercial farming, the hospitality industry, construction, and all of these various sectors rely on migrant labour from the region.
So what's the criticism against current policy?
Well, I think the main criticism coming from the UN Monitor is about the fact that the use of this labour from the region is not particularly well organised. As I think everybody knows, a great part of this migrant labour is undocumented for lack of a better option in the current migration system. And I think that's the main problem.
Currently, South African authorities, with the Zimbabwean situation at least, are trying to register and enumerate Zimbabweans working into the country. And there are some criticisms as to how this process is being managed, but there are those efforts underway. What more should they be doing?
Well, what the South African government has been doing regarding the situation of the Zimbabweans and this whole Zimbabwean documentation project is certainly a very good attempt at finding a solution to the situation of these hundreds of thousands of Zimbabweans in the country. However, the problem, I think, is the planning of this whole project, and we've seen the shortcomings very clearly in December and January with those endless queues and people queuing days and nights, not being able to find a solution to their situation. I think there's very clearly a question of organisation within the Department of Home Affairs. Organisational issues within the department have been going on for a very long time, and unfortunately we are not seeing a major change there. So I think the lesson to be drawn from the Zimbabwean documentation project is that there's an urgent need for better consultation and better organisation, consultation between Home Affairs and civil society organisations that have worked with migrants for many years, as well as other constituencies within South African society, if such projects are to be repeated in future.
Criticism levelled against South African authorities is that they are on a quest to attract skilled labour that can contribute meaningfully, and I say that in inverted commas, into the economy, where there can be a skills transfer. Why shouldn't they be doing that?
I think that's not exactly the issue, and I think it's important to realise that this whole issue of skills and of importing skills from outside South Africa is a very complex one. Government has been doing things, certainly has been taking decisions probably quite late, since the assessment of the skills gap has only been put in place since 2005 very seriously. There are policies in place, there are organizations and agencies within the Department of Labour in charge of assessing skills gaps. However, I think the problem essentially lies in intergovernmental communication and organisation there again, between those agencies in charge of assessing in which sectors the South African economy needs skills, and why it is that the education system is not producing the skills, and what the consequences are in the long term of the import of skills from outside.
Okay, and a final brief question. Why is this issue important for the investment community of CNBC, for instance? Why is it important for us to be talking about migrant policy on behalf of the South African government, or as done by the South African government?
It's important because I think the South African government, as well as the business community, cannot do without this labour, and cannot also pretend that it's just not out there. One, I think, of the main issues in this whole skills discussion is to remember that people are already in South Africa. And there is a tremendous amount of skills available in the migrant community, documented or undocumented. And very often policies in place or policies which are being designed do not take this into consideration.